Hello everyone and welcome. It's my pleasure to bring you this preview of the upcoming DCS Persian Gulf Map. In this episode we're covering an area that's been fought over by more angry sailors than your mum. This time we'll be visiting the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz and the nearby city of Khasab. Before we begin, I'd like to address the elephant in the room. I'm sure most of you by now are screaming at the screen, why in the name of all that's unholy am I flying the TF-51 when I could be flying the F-18? Well, dear imaginary viewer, there are two reasons and both of them are for your own good. The first reason is the map and the F-18 are separate entities. The last thing I want is people to get the wrong idea, then return here with their pitchforks, and for me to have to spend an afternoon reinserting pitchforks up the arses of those who couldn't be bothered reading a title. The second reason is the TF-51 has a much lower airspeed. This gives me a better opportunity to show you the sights in more detail. We're going to leave Khasab when I show you the most important part of and the real reason behind this map. Iran is off my nose in the distance to the north, the south we have Oman, the southwest we have the United Arab Emirates. Divisions in this region are immense. The majority of people in that distant land off my nose are Iranian and speak Farsi. In the lands off my tail, most people are Arabs and speak Arabic. In Iran, the majority are Shia. In Oman and the UAE, the majority are Sunni. The United Arab Emirates and Oman have prospered immensely from the oil trade, whereas the economy in Iran has stagnated due to international sanctions. The UAE has a close relationship with the West in general and more specifically the US, while Iran's closest ties are with Syria, Russia and China. To muddy the waters a little, Oman has maintained cordial relations with both the UAE and Iran. This almost all fell apart in 2010 when Omani security services discovered a large intelligence operation being run by the UAE within their borders. Any of the aforementioned reasons have proven enough in the past to set nations at each other's throats like gentlemen callers outside your mum's flat on a Saturday night. However, there is one more act that plays a part in this shit show of shit shows. That is the Strait of Hormuz itself. At its narrowest point, the Strait of Hormuz is 54 kilometers wide. Both Oman and Iran claim almost exactly half of the strait as being within their territorial waters. On average, 14 tankers a day traverse the strait, passing through both Omani and Iranian territorial waters. The US disagrees with both claims and projects naval power in the area as part of its open seas policy. 14 tankers a day doesn't sound like a lot, right? Well, it accounts for around 20% of the world's oil supply. Most of the oil supply that crosses the strait is going to Southeast Asia and India. So if either side were to seize the strait, triggering a prolonged conflict, you better start stealing kidneys if you want to buy a new graphics card. With a geopolitical lesson like that, I think even Stevie Wonder could see the value of this map to DCS. It's a ready-made relevant conflict which has flared up on many occasions in the past. I'm sure by this stage many of you are crying, what about the scenery? And even more of you are crying, what about the dick jokes? The scenery is coming right up, but I'm afraid you'll have to wait for the dick jokes, but I promise so many in the future you'll be able to taste them. Khasab looks amazing. Incidentally, the port at Khasab is the focal point for some unofficial trade between Iran and its neighbours to the south. Boats loaded with sheep arrive from Iran. They are then sold at the port, I have been assured, just for the meat and wool. The boats are then loaded with electronic goods which are smuggled back to Iran. Some of the sheep can end up as far away as Saudi Arabia, and I'm sure the odd brothel in between. There are a few reasons why I loved Khasab on this map and wanted it to be the first place I showed. First is its proximity to the narrowest point of the strait. The buildings are generally low-rise and the city looks very traditionally Arabic in character. I know I've already said it looks amazing, but it really does, and here's a little challenge for the more pedantic among you. Open Google Maps, type Khasab and bring up the satellite image. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how well they've got this city. While you enjoy Khasab, I have a little announcement to make. Wags from Eagle Dynamics has very kindly offered to join me as my instructor for a video towards the end of next week. In the video, Wags plans to teach me, and by extension you, a little more about the systems on the FA-18C. This is of course a wonderful opportunity to ask questions about the FA-18C and DCS in general. So here's your homework. I would like you, dear viewer, to think of a question to ask Matt. Then I would like you to ask yourself the following question. Is this question a question Matt has been asked so many times that he's likely to strangle the next person who asks it? If the answer is yes, get the bunny in your head to pedal the bike a little harder and think of a better question. Because obviously Wags doesn't want to live in his own personal version of Groundhog Day answering the same questions day in day out, and I don't want to get strangled. So if you've got questions, ask them in the comments section and we'll pick some out to ask Matt. Before I go, I would just like to extend my sincere thanks to Wags and everybody at Eagle Dynamics for giving me the opportunity to share this with you. I would also like you to bear in mind that this is an alpha build and everything is subject to change. As always, I thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to dislike or tell me to go fuck myself below, but don't forget those bloody questions.